Hello， 大家好，我是软学小天使阿星，
我是软学小天使 Mandy。
你怎么了？
哦，我在学着怎么样数位转型。
哦，你这样土法炼钢太辛苦了啦！快上软学 YouTube 频道，按赞分享并开启小铃铛订阅，上面有超多数位转型的知识哦。
先让我冷静一下。
Next is our speaker from Malaysia, Mr. Tony Yeoh, who serves as the CEO of the Digital Penang, a government agency of the state of Penang, established to accelerate efforts to capture opportunities in the digital economy and promote a digitally engaged society. With international experience in 7 countries in Asia among systems integration and business consulting, Mr. Yeoh has now returned to contribute to his home state in Penang, Malaysia. As Penang gears up for the state development vision of Penang 2030 as a family-focused, green and smart state to inspire the nation, Digital Penang acts as an umbrella organization to oversee and integrate them towards a common goal. Now let's put our hands together and welcome our next speaker, Mr. Tony Yeoh, CEO of the Digital Penang.
So thank you, Social, for inviting me to have this sharing on our digital journey. I'm Tony Yeoh, CEO of Digital Penang. So as you know, Penang is an island comprising of 300 square kilometers, an island, and a mainland, which is about 700 square kilometers. Our population is about 1.78 million people, and we are predominantly a manufacturing hub, especially for semicon and high-tech and medical devices. We have 10 industrial parks in Penang, mostly on the mainland. In 2018, the Chief Minister was appointed, and he came up with this vision of Penang 2030. Part of the vision is to create a family-focused green smart state. And some of the goals are obviously in the pillars of livability, upgraded economy, engaged civil society, and also a resilient infrastructure. In that vision itself, one of the key elements is creating a smart state. And that obviously, apart from the physical development, is also the digital facet of that vision. Part of the vision of the digital journey is obviously to create that digital journey is from the stakeholder experience perspective. Can you please hold on? So how we design the digital journey is based on a couple of things. One is about the stakeholder experience. So looking at it from the angle of these 5 key stakeholders, what would be the digital journey look like? And then the other element is, how does the journey of digitalization align with the SDG goals? And how does it help in terms of achieving some of these sustainable development goals? So Digital Penang was set up about 2 years ago, a government agency of the Penang state. And our mission is to basically orchestrate a lot of the digital initiatives in the state to see how we can capture opportunities in the digital economy. How do we then look at building a resilient infrastructure, getting the community to adopt digital technology, and then in terms of the delivery of government services and creating a smart city in that context. So as you can see from the goals, we are pretty much aligned with quite a lot of the SDG goals in achieving that digital journey. At the state level, this is our digitalization plan and transformation plan, and we are only in halfway through this journey itself. At the federal level, for the whole Malaysia, there is a bigger plan called My Digital, and that is basically how we align from the state level to the federal at the national level. So as part of that digital transformation and also that Penang 2030 vision, the Chief Minister wanted to designate a digital district to bring to life the vision. So the digital district is basically carving out an area to see how we can create a city campus to attract investments in digital services and software. As you recall, I mentioned that we have 10 industrial parks, mainly in manufacturing. So this is the first digital district that we have created. where it's a fusion of heritage, technology, and creative arts. And it will be given a digital nomad hub status in September this year. So this digital district is basically an area that is designated, and it's also a UNESCO heritage site where there is a lot of heritage in terms of our colonial days. And so there's a lot of culture as well as creativity in this region. So the idea is obviously to attract investments into this area. And this is where the living lab will be for smart city, how we can experiment with some of the policies in terms of a digital district. Apart from that, at the broader state level, there are many projects that have already been initiated. And there are over 100 projects in 5 domains. Some of the key domains, especially in smart government, is where how government operates in terms of delivery of services. So we have set up a GeoHub for sharing geospatial data, obviously because of landslides and climate change. So we have to look at how do we monitor the environment. And we also have an intelligent operations center where we actually collect information through CCTVs and to provide security and safety for our residents. In the smart environment initiatives, we have a few things around pollution centers to collect data on the environment, flood warning systems, centers to collect in terms of whether there will be issues when there is a huge heavy downpour. And then also we are deploying 5G smart street poles. So smart street poles are actually used to create the 5G infrastructure. And then lastly, of course, is also for waste management in terms of how do we be more efficient in terms of routing our garbage trucks around the state itself. And then how do we dispose? At the moment, there will be some initiatives looking at waste to energy disposal systems. On the smart mobility and infrastructure initiatives, we looked at smart parking. And so how can people use a mobile app to pay for parking? And then also how do we have such that people do not have to go and search for a car park in the CBD. So smart parking is one of the things that have been initiated as well. A major push as part of the digitalization strategy is to have fiber to the home. And because of the heritage area, digging up roads is quite difficult. And so how do we have a more innovative approach to deploy fiber? And so the telcos have come up with an innovative way to clip on some of this fiber along the drains, right? And that is how we deploy in a heritage area, because in a brownfield site, it's very difficult to dig up the roads and it will cause a lot of inconvenience and disturbance. Another initiative that we're looking at is obviously traffic simulation. And so how traffic is always a major problem in a lot of cities. And so how do we simulate traffic? How do we ensure that when new buildings and new development come into place, what impact would it cause to the additional traffic load? Additional things is like monitoring the traffic using sensors and analytics, and then digesting and seeing how we can plan for better roads. On the left-hand side, as you can see on the smart economy pillar and smart community, this is where Digital Penang has spent a lot of time working on is the creative digital district, as I've mentioned earlier, and then as well as developing a tech startup ecosystem. Entrepreneurship is definitely key to have a vibrant ecosystem, and therefore we need to make sure that we have good tech entrepreneurs that are willing to do startups and solve problems, not just related to the private sector, but also solve problems that are related to governance as well. We have a heavy push in terms of getting our local companies to adopt digital and to go international. And part of it is all about upskilling people in terms of IR4. Apart from that, we're looking at additional supply chains in terms of how do we use our engineering prowess and how do we use it to tap into other additional supply chains beyond medical tech devices, beyond semicon manufacturing. Can we look into satellite supply, for example? In the smart community space, we try to encourage our citizens to adopt digital. So e-wallets adoption is definitely key. How do we get people to use e-wallets for payment? cashless payment, as well as also getting them to use technologies to go e-commerce. And then we set up digital libraries as well to get the communities to come in and engage and to participate in the digital manner. So that, in a nutshell, is basically our digital journey, and it's still evolving, and there will still be a lot more to go in terms of how especially we deliver services to the